Salutations, crustaceans. I'm Lobster, and this is my 300th video. That's right, I've made 300 base videos, and this is number 300. To celebrate this monumentous occasion, we are going to do something a little bit different, and we are going to check out every single base that I have in my layer here. That is over 50, and we're going to do that all in this one video. So each base is going to get like 10 seconds or so, but we're going to go through them all and do that today. Let's get started. Welcome! So we are going to be checking out every single one of my bases in my layer right now. Some are not owned by me, and others you probably have never seen before, as I've never featured them in a video. But today we're going to look at every single base that I have here, and that's a lot. So let's get started. You guys know what you need to do. Go ahead and pinch that like button so my hand will turn back to normal. Thanks. Where to begin? I'm gonna start with this rack over here, and then I have like 3.5 more racks over there, and then the wall behind me. So there's gonna be a lot of bases we're gonna be checking out today. Let's not waste any more time. First up is the Sire P5. Now, I just got this about a week ago, and I'm absolutely loving this base. Here's what it sounds like. Very nice. Next is the Sire D5, a 51 style P base. Let's plug her in. Next up is my Sire P10. This has been modified with an Albridge bridge, Hipshot ultralight tuners, Nordstrand pickups, and a John East uni preamp. Here's what this sounds like. And on to the next base. Next up is my Sire V5 fretless. Now, yes, I kind of keep all my Sires together, so it's going to be a little bit of a Sire cluster here. We got a couple more, and then we're going to be moving on from the Sire brand. But this is one of my favorite fretless bases, the V5 fretless. It's been modified with DiMarzio Area J pickups, as well as a Lucid Hand preamp, Albridge bridge, and Hipshot ultralight tuners. I love this thing. This is one of my favorite fretless bases. On to the next base. And the last of my Sire collection that I currently have here is my Sire V7. I also have an M5, but that is actually with Dale right now, so this is it for the Sires. My V7 Vintage, modified with a Sadowski preamp, DiMarzio Area J pickups, Albridge bridge, and Hipshot ultralight tuners. Yeah, this might need a new set of strings, but I think this bass sounds great. On to the next brand. We're going to be checking out some Ibanez's now. First up is my AFR5 WAP with the Labella nylon tape wound strings. These are really neat. And next up is my Ibanez Roadster. This is a 1982 model featuring DiMarzio pickups, an Ibanez preamp from 1982, and just a solid construction. This is an awesome bass. Now this does have a single coil jazz pickup, so there is a little bit of single coil hum when you have both pickups together, but it's from 40-ish years ago, so hey, it gets a pass. Next up from Ibanez is my ATK 810. This is one of my favorite Ibanez basses. It's so versatile. And last for the Ibanezes is the EHB 1005 MS modified with Aguilar DCB pickups. Now this particular bass was the start of the channel. I got this bass and I wanted to make a video on it, and that's how everything started, and I still have it. This is a fun bass. I love this thing. Next up is this Glary Jazz. It's a Glary. And we got another Glary. This is the Glary G2 jazz bass with a maple board, denser body, and different electronics. And then here is the Epiphone Embassy bass that I recently reviewed. This is a interesting instrument because it has two Thunderbird-style humbuckers, but a more, I guess, ergonomic body style versus the regular Thunderbirds. But still a very T-Bird-esque vibe from the tone. And this is the Ibanez Bean Bass. I know I said I was done with Ibanez's, but I forgot I had this laying around. This is from, I believe, the late 80s, mid-late 80s. Very interesting bass. And then here is a Sire V3. Now the electronics aren't connected to anything. I use this as a mod platform for my upcoming jazz bass preamp guide, which is coming at the end of September. Be sure to check that out, but this is the bass that was used there, and yeah, the electronics aren't hooked up to anything, so. Wow. Next up is the DIY Dark Ray. This is a Sterling by Music Man Ray 34, and it has a dark glass preamp as well as an Artec QDD2 overdrive circuit built in on this 5-hole control plate. I might have to do some adjustments on the electronics here. I do have an upcoming video on this bass where we're going to be doing some mods to the circuit here and adding a blend control for this distortion. Stay tuned for that. Next up is my Stingray Classic. My most favorite Stingray, I'm probably going to say. I love this thing. I love this thing a lot. Next up is another Stingray, and this is my Stingray EX, made in Japan, and it features a status graphite fretless neck. And I think that's about it. Check this out. Next up on the Stingray train is my 2017 Music Man Stingray. This is not a Stingray Special, this is one of the regular Stingrays, featuring the 9-volt preamp. Now, this bass is very special as this is my first Stingray ever, and it actually has very close to the same birthday as me. We are 1 day apart, though this is obviously a little bit younger than me, just a skosh, but here's what this sounds like. And next up for the Music Men is my Cutlass. This is an awesome P bass. Let's check it out. Next up is my Sabre Classic. Now, I actually have 2 of these, but one of them is with a friend right now, so this is the only Sabre in my stable currently. These are awesome basses. They're super rare, but they are just really cool. Next up is my G&L 1K, the L1000. This is an awesome bass, one of my favorites. Next up is this, the Mongo Super P from Detailer Guitars. Now, this is not my bass, this is actually Chris Volpini's bass, one of my good friends. He lent this to me to do a video on, which I've already done, and I just wanted to include this in this video because it's an awesome bass. Next up is my Music Man Big Al 5. This really needs a new set of strings. I'm probably going to restring it sometime in the future, but here's what it sounds like with some dead strings. Next up is another borrowed bass. This is a Phoenix, made in Japan from the same folks who make the Tune basses. I'll be doing a separate video going over all the details of this bass. This is really interesting. But for now, here's what it sounds like. up is this, my Gibson Les Paul Jr. Tribute, featuring a Hipshot high mass bridge and a Sarek Lazen B90 pickup. This thing rules. And then here is Geddyzilla, my FGN Neoclassic, with 60s jazz spacing but a 70s style neck, and featuring the Tom Brantley Geddy rewind pickups. Next up on the FGN train is my Mighty Jazz JMJ, featuring Seymour Duncan quarter pounder pickups. Next up is a very special bass. This is my FGN Mighty Power Limited Edition. I just unboxed this yesterday, and the pickups have been swapped out with DiMarzio Relentless pickups, and the volume pots have been swapped out for 500K DiMarzio push-pulls that activate a series mode for each of the pickups. Let's see how this sounds. Moving on from FGN, we're now going to check out my Reverend Fatfish 32. I also have a Reverend Michel signature, the Fellowship bass, but that's with a friend right now, so this is my only Reverend in-house currently. Let's see how this sounds. This is my custom D-Taylor Strat bass. The body was made by Dave Taylor and the neck is a Status Graphite jazz bass neck that I've had forever. The pickups in this are custom Lindy Fralins as well. Let's check this thing out. Oh yeah. This has a 5-way selector switch too for 5 different pickup modes, and I think we were just checking out the bridge pickup. All the way to the neck. Next up is my custom Warmoth Tele bass. This has a fat Telecaster style neck and a Telecaster body with a beautiful Carina top and an MEC active P-bass pickup. Let's see how this sounds. Next up is this, a very, very rare and special bass. This is a Conklin Rocco Prestia signature model, and this was actually personally owned by Rocco Prestia himself. Next up is another borrowed bass. This is a friend's Bacchus, I forget which model this is, but this bass now has the EMG Riptide pickups as well as a BTC preamp. Let's see how this sounds. These pickups have some kick to them. Next up is this, the Line 6 Variax bass. Now, I don't have the little module set up for it right now, so I'm not going to plug it in, but I have one, and we're going to be doing a full review going over all the different tones on this in the near future. Next up is this, my Valenti Pickup Tester bass. This is routed for all sorts of different pickups, so it's currently set up for a jazz setup. We're going to be using this a lot in the very near future for a pickup testing series, looking at all sorts of different pickups on the same platform. Here's what this sounds like with these Aguilar jazz pickups and an OBP1 preamp. Next up is Project Code Red. What once started life out as a regular Sterling by Music Man Ray 4 double humbucker SUB series is now a beast. Featuring EMG MMTW pickups, an EMG BTC preamp, and a bunch of hardware and stuff, this is essentially a whole new bass. This is a bass we haven't seen in a long time. This is my Ray 4 SUB from Sterling by Music Man called Project Minto Ray. This features a Delano pickup with a series and parallel switch, as well as a Darkglass 3-band preamp. Let's check this out. Very nice, very nice. And this was actually my first Ray 4 Stingray project ever. And I did this with the help of Dom over at Third Floor Guitars in Massachusetts here. Great guy. He helped me out a lot with this and helped me basically learn a lot of the stuff that I know right now in terms of modding and everything. If you're ever in the area and need a guitar tech, be sure to hit up Dom at Third Floor Guitars. Next up is my 2013 Mexican Precision bass. Now this has been modified with a Ray Ross bridge. There's something going on with the set of strings though, so this isn't fully complete right now. However, we're gonna play it for you. And then this is another very special bass. This is my Epiphone Jack Cassidy signature in a limited edition silver burst finish. I purchased this brand new probably close to 10 years ago, and it is the bass that I've owned the longest out of everything in my collection here. Let's see what it sounds like. Next up is my DIY Fender P bass. I assembled this myself using all Fender Mexican parts, except for the pickup, which is a DiMarzio Split P. I think this sounds great. And for our final Fender foray, we have my Fender Geddy Lee Jazz Bass. This is a made in Mexico model. I don't really like it that much, but I have it simply to compare to a American and Japanese jazz bass from the Geddy Lee models that we're going to be doing a video on in the future. But yeah, here's the Mexican one. Next up is this, my Squier Bronco. You thought I sold this, but I did not. I actually installed a Guild Bisonic pickup in here. This is one of the Guild pickups. You can get these for pretty cheap. This is not one of the Novaks that's much more expensive. Other than that, I believe this is pretty much stock. I am going to try my hand at refinishing this to see how it goes, but other than that, yeah, here's my Squier Bronco. I still have my Squier Jaguar as well, but we won't be featuring that in this video as that is with a friend. But here's what the Bronco sounds like. Just kidding, this isn't working right now. Next up is this bass, the Tajima TW66? TW65. I did review the TW66 as well as replace the pickup with a DiMarzio Relentless. However, this one is completely stock. I haven't done anything to it, and I probably need to review this at some point. But I have it right now. And next up is my Sterling by Music Man SB4. This is a Sterling body as opposed to a Stingray body. These are relatively uncommon versus the SUBs with the Stingray body shape. But here's what this sounds like. This is an older model, as you can tell from the headstock. Let's plug her in. Yeah, this is a spicy one. Okay, we're at the home stretch here. Only about a dozen more. Let's do this. This is our first of two basses from Bully the Kid. This is his Hard Luck Kings Bombshell. I forget what series this is, but it's been modified with magnets under the pickups and an Audaire preamp. The strings on this are old as hell as well, but here's what this sounds like. And the second of Bully's basses here is the BTK5 from Archetype Guitars. This is Bully's signature bass, and it's really cool. Next up is the Harley Benton Stingray thing. The Burt Globe Music Person. This is the 5-string model in matte black. Here's what this sounds like. I'm going to be doing a full review on this in the future, but for now, yay, Harley Benton. And this is a Grassroots Beetle bass thing. It has a PJ pickup configuration, and it needs some tuners, so it's not strung up right now. Yay! And then this is a Rumblin' Man Squier Affinity Jazz Bass 5-string. I'm going to be doing some mods to this. I've kind of been holding on to it for a while, sorry Rumblin' Man, but we are going to mod this for you and you're going to like the finished result, don't you worry. Here's what it sounds like stock with these really old strings. I've actually never played this before, and it doesn't sound too bad out of the box, but the improvements we're going to make are going to be significant, so keep an eye out for that video coming in the future. Next up is my Lace Helix. This is a Lace Helix 5-string neck through. A really interesting bass, however it has some electronics issues, so I'm not going to plug it in right now, but it's neat. Next up is this Dean Zone Bass. It's really noisy. I've actually never plugged this in, and I've had it for over a year. I was planning on doing a silly review on it with like a green screen and stuff, but that never really came to fruition, though it still might happen. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see me do a full review of this bass. Here's what it sounds like with the stock. And now for the final 7 basses, the ones on the wall. Let's check them out. Start with the Spectre here. This is my Spectre Eurovolt 4-string. It's been modified with EMG Victor Wooten pickups, the PAX and JVX pickups, the BTC preamp, as well as a passive tone control, and Hipshot tuners up at the headstock. Here's what this sounds like. Next up is another one of my favorites. This is my FGN Mighty Jazz Dark Evolution. This is a killer bass. Next up is my Dingwall NG3. This has been pretty heavily modified with a John East MMSR Stingray preamp, as well as a passive tone control and 6-way rotary switch to allow for even more pickup combinations. Let's check this out. And now here is my Music Man Bongo 5-string BFR in Honduran mahogany in this Honeyburst. This is a really cool bass, though I am very wary about playing it because it's simply huge. I'm always afraid of bumping the headstock on something, so I really don't play this as much as I should. Here's what this sounds like. Next up is Wally, my Rickenbacker 4003 SW, the Walnut Edition. And this has been modified with a black pickguard, black truss rod cover, and Joe Barden pickups. This thing sounds great. And then here is my second of 3 BFR basses. This is the Stingray Special Fretless BFR from October 2019. This thing is awesome. And then last but not least is my Stingray 2020 BFR in Pink Champagne Sparkle with a gorgeous flamed maple neck. Look at that. This thing rules. Here's what this sounds like. Oh yeah. Well, there we have it. We have looked at every single base that I have here. I have some other bases that are loaned out to friends. Dale has some, my friend Chris has some, I forget if Bully has some, but everybody has some of my bases. So there's some others that are out and about right now, but this is everything in my collection that's currently here, as well as a few of my friends' bases. So let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thank you for helping this channel be as successful as it's been. We've hit 300 videos. 300, that's a lot. And it's been a trip. And I'm looking forward to making 300 more for you guys, so stay tuned for those. But don't forget to like, subscribe, join our Discord channel, leave a comment down below, let me know which one of these bases was your favorite, and as always, until we groove again.